Welcome to the Bullets and Bourbon podcast, where it's not about the bourbon, but more about who you share it with.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Bullets and Bourbon, episode 43 on our midweek traditional whiskey heavy episode. And we got some fun stuff for you guys tonight. Dan just walked off again. He does this now. A little ADD in him. Tonight we're going to do a separate video. We've got a winner to announce, and that is for the bottle of the Liberty Pole Old Monongahela Rye. Sorry, I'm catching heat for not pronouncing this right. And we're going to talk a little bit about the bottle that we're going to put up for the next raffle. But we also have a bottle that we've kind of been holding on to taste, and that is the Maker's Mark, the Heart Release, which came out earlier this year. I think it was June, maybe earlier.
June, July, August.
Yeah.
May.
When did we get this bottle? I don't remember. Right? You remember?
I think I was in Kansas City, the Missouri side, and that's where I picked up you and I both a bottle.
Yeah, that's right. So
yeah, fuck me on that one, right?
Yeah. Well, you were in the text.
He was in the group chat.
You just don't answer your phone. I mean, it's whiskey, bitch. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna dive into this, and we're gonna talk a little bit about this whiskey. And Dan, go ahead. You start it off. What do you think? Because you and I are traditionally big Maker's Mark fans, but I'm warming up to it.
I'm not. It's still with this. I get a lot of hints of cherry in it right off the bat.
Is that why you don't like Makers? Is you feel like there's a cherry undertone to it?
The cherry undertone is a little bit too present for me.
That. What do you think, Craig?
I'm actually glad you didn't get me a bottle, to be honest.
He just comes right off the top rope.
I mean, it's not a bash on Makers. It's just my palate. It's not something I drink.
I think a lot of the Makers for me used to be very earth tony.
Yes.
Like a dirt or...
Yeah.
Again, like Dan said, it's not a knock on Makers. It's an acquired taste to your palate. Yeah. But Makers, dear God, I couldn't even venture to say how many different
there's so many
they have
between their barrel staves and their all their different things that they do.
One guy pointed out, was it Jim? When Jim was over here, he said he'll look at the tasting notes though too, and he'll select his base off that though. Right. The Heart Release has been a very popular one. A lot of people like it though. I don't get the earth tone flavor. It's a little warm on the hug for me.
What is this? A 120 proof?
So this checks in at 111.7. God, I really need to get glasses. And I will say this on the bottle they put on there, the notes, which I don't like reading beforehand, but I will agree with these notes. So on the nose, it was very earthy. No, that's not right. Not earthy.
See, I don't think this one's earthy.
I don't get it earthy on this.
Like toasted on the nose, almost. Like, I don't know how to explain that. And that's a bad, really, way to kind of say it on the nose. But I get cocoa on the nose. I get some dark fruit on the nose. On
a little
the palate,
white powder on the nose.
Oh, I wish, yeah. on the palate, I get brown sugar, a lot of brown sugar. I don't get any of the cherry though. I don't know. I don't know where you're finding the cherry.
I'm getting heavy hints of cherry.
I get spice. I get maple. The notes on the bottle say caramel, chocolate, and maple. Well, that's pretty generalized. To be honest with you, I don't grab the caramel as much.
I can get the maple. It's a warm hug to me.
It's a medium to medium long hug for me.
I would say medium. Yeah, it's still warm in my chest.
It's creamy. I will say this: the mouthfeel for it does coat. It's a little oily, which I do like. One of the things that you both mentioned with Makers is that there's what turned me off a long time ago was the earthiness to it, and it took me a long time to warm back up to it. And now I'm starting to come back to them and find out that I do like some of it. But I will say that I've had some that I've tried still that you take a sip and I'm like, God, it's like It's like freaking diving into a garden with your mouth open and just grabbing dirt.
A little peat moss.
A little peat moss.
Yeah.
No, because I like peat.
Soil.
Yeah, it's just like
well, yeah.
Like
so
it's like
let me go away from the
I'm
peat moss.
chewing on dirt.
Yeah,
I'm
from
like,
like Scotch, but yeah, it's like having
Dirt
a little
big Cookie Monster.
little topsoil. But I think Maker's Mark's probably diversified though. When you have your typical Maker's Mark, you definitely get that earthy flavor. This or like Cellar Age, which we've never tried on here, but Cellar Age I think is a really good pour though.
Yeah, maybe we should. I don't know. That's a tough one to crack on air and drink down. But overall, I gotta be honest. I like it. I mean, I'm not going to place this in top 10 of anything or top 25 of anything of this year, but you know, if I go on a rating scale of 1 to 10, I would place this solidly about an 8.5. I'm happy.
Do
with
you keep everything on the high end?
No, I don't. Believe me.
Oh,
Listen,
believe me, you do.
If you go into the computer and you look at that document, I got a lot of whiskey in there.
But based on what he says, yes, I would say it's a drinker. If I was at somebody's house, if they didn't have a lot to choose from, I'd absolutely drink it. But would I go buy another bottle? I probably would not buy another bottle. I mean, for $80, 80ish. It's not expensive pour whiskey, but it's not for $80. There's probably a lot of other ones I would choose before this one, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's number one. It's a pain in the ass to find. It's not the easiest bottle to go out and grab, but neither are any of their Heroes editions that they do or stuff like that too. So I mean, it's like a lot of whiskey. It's like if you get it, grab it. If you think you're going to like it, maybe you grab an additional bottle and you just hang on to it. Of all the makers that I have, and I only have 4 makers, I'm not a huge makers grabber, if you will, but I like this one the best. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe I turned the corner on it. Maybe my palate's changing a little bit.
It's hard to grab a Maker's because every time you see it, you see the SIV or whatever the hell it is. And honestly, I'm like, dear God, do I... all these the different categories. I mean, honestly, I don't know how to read the Maker's bottle. Yeah. I don't know enough about it though, and they probably have 1.2 million different releases.
There are dudes with that do nothing but collect Maker's Mark.
Kind of like you and your Liberty Pole.
Or Jack Daniels. I mean, there are guys that are just Jack Daniels collectors, or they're Beam collectors, or they're makers, and we have cock collectors. Fuck.
It's always easy to grab a chicken cock instead of going for a Maker's.
Dan always grab a good cock.
Can't keep his hands off his cock.
Have you seen what is it in the past? I don't know, 6 to 12 months though, when people start grabbing the dipped in wax, the long wax that goes, the long drip all the way, whatever you call it, down to the bottle here, and those became a fad too. I don't know how much of a fad they are now.
Did.
But
so it goes back to what I learned. Because I do a holiday bottle of bourbon usually, and I take a distillate, I take a top of the line distillery, and I soak it in some stuff, and we'll put it on the air when it gets closer to November when it's holiday, because it's a holiday thing. And last year I dipped it in red wax. And I was told by some people that I really respect and love and care about a lot, hey man, you might not want to do that again because you can get sued, because Maker's Mark holds the patent on the red wax. And not just the red wax, but if I grab another bottle that has the wax sealing, and I'm looking around from one that's within reach, you can't even do the drip down the bottle if you're another company, supposedly. This is what I've been told. That you can cut it off here around the neck, but you can't let it drip all the way down. Which is, say what you want, that's like banning breathing a certain way. Whatever.
I find it interesting because it's a good point, and it's going to take me off topic from bourbon real quick. Have you noticed Jay-Z doesn't throw up the rock anymore, right? You know how he used to always do this?
Yeah.
He got sued by Diamond Page from the WWE
for doing that.
because he had that copyrighted.
Yeah, so to me, this is where we enter into the excessive stupidity of our world, right?
Like everybody's copyrighting. You can't say that because I have that trademarked or copy. That's fucking stupid.
Bet you Hawk 2 is copyrighted now.
Oh, I bet it is.
I bet
too.
you'll still spit on that thing, won't you, though, Craig?
But I mean,
That wasn't funny.
Yeah, it was.
it comes to a point because who else? Somebody else recently got sued for some dumb shit. That somebody else had trademarked.
Well, now that you kept it extremely broad, Dan. Thanks for narrowing it down for us.
Well, it was like a $5 million payout.
Who
It's
knows?
going to drive me nuts because I was going down the rabbit hole after I seen the
Diamond Dallas Page thing?
yeah with and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But there was something else another rapper tried to do that somebody else already owned the rights
And
to.
they killed him.
It killed him.
Yeah.
5 million hit.
I mean, listen, when it comes to makers, I don't. On one hand, I don't blame them. The red wax drip is iconic. No bottle you're ever going to get's the same, right? I challenge you to find it because they're all hand dipped. So I understand why they want to protect it. I think it's a little overboard, though, to a certain degree. But hey, it is what it is. Doesn't take away anything from how good their whiskey is. And you know, Makers is another one of these distillers that, you know, I think we grow up and we see Makers at the VFW and we're like, man, I don't want that. But you forget that there are so many different levels of Maker's Mark. Just like there's so many different levels of Jim Beam.
Well, I think Jim Beam, Jack Daniels, they all Jim Beam number 7
appeal to a different.
right.
You know, everybody has a different palate. And,
Jack
you
number
know,
7.
Yeah. So overall, though, I mean, I think that Makers did a pretty good job. I mean, I'm not going to knock them. I mean, it's. I'll probably work through this bottle fairly quick, to be honest with you. If I don't, well, if I get another one, especially.
Good pour. Not gonna. You know, if I saw it on the,
I will say it's better over ice.
if I need if I can not break another cup tonight.
Oh,
on this
don't.
episode.
No,
just
you're
put
not
the
doing.
bottle
You're
away.
done. You're on cup suspension. You broke 2 of my glasses in the last damn week.
Broke one.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all right.
He's forecasting for tonight. That's all.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I was out of the bottle, I would buy another one to have at the house though. But it's not something that's going to be a
Yeah.
drinker for. Just an everyday drinker for me though.
So you're out at a bar. You see this. You see Buffalo Trace. You see Knob Creek 9-year single barrel reserve, and you see
What's
Basil Hayden.
What's the price point?
Let's say that they're all between $3 of each other. And I'll even throw in one more. Say that they just happen to have in a, I don't know, Jack Daniel's single barrel.
You know, I have the memory
What
of
do
a
you got?
nap.
I know,
though.
you just-
So yeah, I mean, so when you guys start talking about, hey, I remember from 6 months ago when we tried this whiskey.
No, I'm saying
rated
if you
this.
go to a restaurant, and this is on the menu with the other traditional ones that are on the menu.
This isn't traditional though.
He's
let's
just saying, just for
You're
argument's
really
sake,
making
Jesus,
this complicated.
fucking Army. He's
God.
like, well, if a worm had a gun, the birds wouldn't fuck with him, you know. So maybe we should arm the worms with AK-47s.
If this was at a restaurant paired with Knob Creek,
But it wouldn't be at a.
oh, fuck, I'm gonna
Just stab him.
stab your ass. I swear to Christ.
I would go with the Knob Creek probably, or
You know
Basil
what?
Hayden.
We need to live stream this because you could delete this photo content right now.
Oh, slash your ass. I swear on God. Oh, man. Listen, do you like it?
Yeah, I
Okay,
like
good.
it.
Sorry.
I don't love it.
We're
I like
done.
it.
We're done.
You
like
shushed me again one more time. Well, you don't shush your wife like that, would you?
Would you?
Your wife?
Yeah.
I wouldn't shush my wife like that. She'd cut me in
You
my
would-
sleep. Yours, I could at least leave at nighttime, but both are
Really?
both are dangerous.
You want me to go get her?
No.
Ah, straight bitched out, didn't you? You did. So in any event, yeah, if you see it and it's a good price, what do you call, Craig, a good price on this? 80 or less? 85 or less?
From what I know, Ohio
PA,
PA's like
yeah.
retails like low 80s, I think. Secondary 110,
Yeah.
120. So it's not a huge markup though, and so
So if you're curious and you can get it for about 85, 90 or less, yeah, sure, pick it up. In my opinion.
In my opinion, there's a lot of other stuff out there that if I'm going to spend that type of money, I'm going to get something good. You know, the Broken Barrel, Cash Strength, that was good.
Yeah,
That was a lot.
I will say for this, for $85, I could get almost 2 bottles of Lonely Oak Distillery's Steeple Ridge Bourbon or rye. I mean, that there is a lot of truth in what you're saying.
You know, and also what I'm saying too, like the chicken cock ethos. I think that's like $69-$89.
You just went with 69 as your first number, right? You just 69 to 89. You just
Or a little Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirits.
yeah.
It's an amazing pour, I think.
Rare breed. No, look, hey, good point. So, I mean, you know, take it for what it is. I mean, everybody has a different palate. That's what I love about, whiskey. I mean, there are Makers fans out there right now that are probably like, fuck all three of you, right? They're probably like, you guys are all idiots. And I completely...
I think that happens every episode.
Yeah, that happens. And I can completely understand that because I feel that way about Jack Daniels, and you guys really aren't huge Jack Daniels fans.
No.
I mean, there's one or two you like a lot.
The 12 and the Sinatra.
Yeah. I mean, we don't always have to agree on whiskey. I'm just telling you from our standpoints, I think collectively it's good, but probably not something that I'm going to go out and look for again. Once the bottle's gone, it's gone. I mean, and they're going to come out. So.
I think bottom line is we agree. It's gone. You see it sit on the shelf. You would buy it to replace it to have on the shelf for every now and then, maybe.
He's not going to go hunting out.
No, he's
though.
not.
He's not going to go hunting out.
No, he's not going to hunt out.
No,
The way you do the head,
there are very few.
The way you did the head down right there, though, if you saw it on the shelf, I will say
at cost, you'd be like, okay.
I will say, it's a pretty bottle. I always do like the Maker's Mark wood finishing series, and I hope sometime we do a podcast sometime on the wood finishing series because there's quite a few releases.
I would like to have somebody a little bit more educated on the wood finishing to come on with us, like Jim Wiggins or somebody that really understands it.
Generally, Jim knows a lot about the wood.
Yeah, he's good with that. I will say that this is not. I saw what you did there.
Yeah.
So. There are certain bottles like Bardstown Bourbon Company, for example. If I'm walking by and I see one of their collaborative series, like the West Virginia Barrel Company or Goose Island or KBS Stout, and I see it on the shelf at retail, and I know I have a couple here, I'm gonna buy another one because then it's weird. It grants me permission to drink that more often. Does that make sense? Marianne Eve's Forbidden, like. If we had more of those, and I know we got some on the way, Dan's over there like, shit, they remembered. But once we get more backups here, then I feel like it's open season. I can go ahead and fire away, and I can have more. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I feel like when we have a backup...
You start to very much cling to it. You start to...
Yeah, you know what your favorites are, or the ones that you... I mean, listen, if we had a Master's Keep Voyage, if we had 2 or 3... we would probably crush that motherfucker in...
I remember my Penelope Rio batch 1. Oh, I just savored that, and I was just like, a little pour here, a little pour there.
It's so good.
Oh, I think it's an amazing pour.
Yeah. So, take it for what it is. I mean, again, this is our opinion. We are, I don't believe anybody's word is 100%, and, neither is ours. So, take it for what it is, guys, It is what it is. So, Maker's Mark, the Heart Release. I don't know where you can find this online because we did look, but
I think you could find it online very easily for a decent price. I'm not sure.
I mean, it is what it is. But while we're talking about high price bottles and being able to buy like 2 or 3 for the cost of one of those.
I know. Chicken Cock, sponsor me. Send me the Red Stave or the 15-year release, and we'll call it all good.
That we're gonna do.
Oh, the rum cask. Oh, is it a rum cask finish?
That's the Chanticleer, isn't it?
No. He's talking about the Rooster
Island
Rooster rum cask.
Yeah.
I went to 15-year.
The 15-year.
$5.99 a bottle.
Are you buying?
No, I'm saying Chicken Cock needs to go ahead, hook us up. Every day I'm throwing my cock up on this bar.
No, you're throwing their cock.
Well, this is my chicken cock.
Own it.
I own it. I paid for it.
It's your cock and your cock alone, buddy. So I do want to, and I'm bringing up the post now, but we want to give a huge kind of a huge shout out to our friends down at Liberty Pool Spirits because they were nominated and they made the list of the 24 best ryes. And of course, it's going to take a while. Now, a little backstory for this: they were named best in the Berg. Yeah, no joke. We knew that was going to happen. But this list, and I just had it up, it had some interesting top 24 rye whiskeys. I can't say this. Monongahela. I'm getting better at it. The Monongahela rye was the one that was listed, and they checked in at number 10, which I think is pretty phenomenal. I will say that if you look at the rest of the list, I think they should have been higher, personally. But
well, there's a lot of good ryes that was missing off that list, I think.
There were.
Yeah, but they're up there being noted with Thomas H. Handy, Michter's.
Yes.
I mean, those are the people on the list who have been in the business for decades. Correct.
So number one, though, was Michter's 10-year rye. I don't have a problem with that being number one. My issue, so it was weird because number 24 was Van Winkle rye. So there was this huge, weird gap on that list. They had, I think what got me was Nashville Barrel Company checked in at number 4. And, Nashville Barrel Company does some cool stuff. I will give them credit where credit's due. They go out and they find some damn good barrels. They do. But, this is an MGP distillate. I don't know the history behind it. I've had that particular one that they had on the list. I was not a huge fan of it. Am I a huge fan of Monongahela rye? I am. I think it is rich. I think it is full-bodied. I think it delivers amazing character, amazing flavor profile. It's got an oily texture that I love. I love the finish on it. It checks all the boxes. The one that got me, though, was funny because at number 4 or 5, and I can't find the list because, of course, my phone's acting,
That's what happens when you got an Apple.
Oh, wait, no. See, you had to go there. So the one that got me was one that we actually talked about on the show, which was the Wild Turkey Masters Keep Triumph.
I was,
and you were disappointed.
I was disappointed because
Yeah.
the voyage was my number one that I've drank in 2024.
Yeah.
The Triumph, it was all right. It was good, but I wouldn't rank it up there with. Go for an example, Mariana Eve's Forbidden. I think the Forbidden.
I don't know what
as a rye versus
Yeah,
bourbon, but still, as far as what you
was the
what you
Voyager
enjoy.
rye or all the I can't remember all the Wild Turkey Masters. They're not all ryes though.
No.
So
they circle in and out.
But was the Voyager rye though?
The Voyage was a bourbon. The
Right,
Triumph
so
was a rye.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, so this past weekend I did not a huge fan of them. The pig.
Whistle Pig.
Whistle Pig. Yeah.
So Whistle Pig's on this list too.
The Whistle Pig 12-year rye, that was absolutely phenomenal.
That's what I'm drinking right now. Actually.
I think that's 100% better
Yeah.
than the Triumph.
So the Whistle Pig did check in on this list. They checked in at number.
Which product?
That's why I'm scrolling to it because I didn't really pay much attention to it. The Farm Stock Rye, which I've heard good things about, and I do want to get a bottle. I had a chance at a campfire. There were a couple other ryes that they have. I mean, Whistle Pig has some good ones. I don't have enough Whistle Pig to formulate a really, I think, educated guess.
Well, last week after having that 12, it completely changed my attitude towards Whistle Pig.
So maybe we grab some Whistle Pigs and keep them on the shelf and we do it.
Another one I'm shocked. My chicken cock didn't make
Chicken
that
cock
list.
rye wasn't on there. Well, so there were some on here, and I'll go through the list really quick. I'm not gonna drag this out, and you guys can say what you think. 24 Van Winkle Family Reserve, 2023 release. Okay, that's weird. So
it ranked where?
24, the bottom. No, 23. 24 was Michter's Toasted Barrel Kentucky Straight Rye Barrel. And it's a number barrel. So the chances are a lot of people aren't going to have that. I did not have that one. I have had the Van Winkle Family Reserve Rye, not this one, years ago. I thought it was good, not outstanding. Blue Run Emerald Rye, Kentucky Straight Rye distilled at Castle and Key. I have that one. It's decent. I think it's a good rye. It's better than their bourbon, in my opinion, Blue Run's bourbon. Michter's Barrel Straight Kentucky Straight Rye Whiskey Barrel 24, whatever. So 2024. I haven't had that particular bottle, but I've had others. I think they make Mitchell's does a really good job. Mitchell's one of the oldest out there. I have no problem with that. 20 was Colonel E.H. Taylor Straight Rye. And it's been a while because I think the EHT that we did last time, was that a rye or a barrel strength?
We did
a whole
test
panel.
the tails.
Yeah.
We did small batch, rye, single barrel
Test the
proof,
tails.
batch 12.
And I think rye came in above the actual small batch.
I know for me, single barrel is my favorite. I think you all like the barrel proof.
Yeah,
I like the single barrel.
Yeah. So okay, I got no bones with that placement. 19 was Whistle Pig Beyond Bonded Vermont rye, their farm stock rye, the one we were just talking about. Then you had 18 Fiddler Toasted Barrel Straight Rye Whiskey. I've had Fiddler. I have not had their toasted, so I can't speak to it.
So not to drag this out, what's number 12 or something?
Yeah, speed it up.
Little fast forward here.
Okay. Am I boring you?
What's the top 10?
I thought we were here talking about bourbon.
What's a top 10?
So 10 was Liberty Pole, Old Well, hold up.
There you go.
Because 12 was Barrel Seagrass, which is a rye, and I think it is a phenomenal rye. But it is finished in a Madeira cask, and it's got elements of rum in there too. So I can understand maybe, okay, that drops it down there. 10 was Liberty Pole, Monongahela Rye.
Okay, we got your opinion. What's 9?
Yeah. 9, I'm getting to it. Willett Family Estate 10-year.
Green top.
Okay. Well, it's good. 8 was, I've never had this. And now I want to go get it. Gryphon and Grain, California Straight Rye Whiskey, Single Barrel, R7. So I guess when it comes to the list, if you're gonna take single barrels and you pair them next against like small batches and stuff that is like, are you really able to do that fairly? Because the single barrels are, how about I go off the shelf and I grab a Liberty Pole single barrel rye, any number of them, and I'm like, try this next to them, and they'll be like, whoa, right? You should kind of stay within the same kind of parameters, right? Am I right or am I wrong about that?
Yeah, I think you're wrong. If you want to go with the rye, it's a rye. So if you want to go single barrel, you want to go this. If you want to go left, you want to go right. It's still a rye. So make your best product. Go left, go right.
So then what's the takeaway? Because to me, if somebody makes a mass product like and I'm not going to say it's a mass product, but the
Monongahela Rye.
I'm getting it. Monongahela Rye is something that's going to be continuous, but it's not a single barrel, so there's more available of it, right? Versus a single barrel, and they code it R7. Well, I know that there's only 200 bottles of that out there, right? Is that a fair comparison to pair a single barrel next to a small batch? I just don't.
Why isn't it?
Because it's one.
So if I do one barrel and you have the ability to do 200 barrels, is it not fair to say this is still at the single barrel? Is this still not the best rye ever produced?
Well, I think a single barrel is normally going to beat a small batch.
Yeah, because my thing is, every now and then when you're thieving from the barrel, you're going to find that one barrel that's going to stand out from everybody else, and it's magic.
So here's the thing.
So if I'm putting up, I don't know how they were selected, or if they put this rye up or that rye up, because obviously you're not going to try all of them.
Correct.
So somebody had to be selected and pushed forward. But like Jason said, how many other distilleries got their single barrels? That there's only 200 or 200, less than 200 bottles.
So I feel like fair? I'm a baby to rye still. I love it. I mean, it is probably surpassed bourbon is what I love. But if I go over the shelf and I take a single barrel of Liberty Pole, and they have had some magnificent single barrel ryes, some of the best I think I'm ever going to have. And I pair it and I put that on this list and say, hey, instead of the Monongahela, which is a phenomenal rye, taste this one next to that one. I bet money that would shift. I'm just saying, if you're going to say small batch, go small batch. You know what I'm saying? Like, keep the categories on your list.
Yeah.
This is where the list, to me, so I know there's arguments about lists.
I see what you're saying. If it was a single barrel rye list, okay, that would be.
Where would Chicken Cock fall? Because I bet money Chicken Cock would make that list.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Depending on the category.
Yeah.
I think it should be lumped in small batch, single batch.
Cast strength.
Whatever.
Yeah. Now, I mean, that's my only issue with the list. I don't have a lot of arguments with the list. I mean, they have Kings County on here at 7. they got rare character Brook Hill barrel number 1607. So there again, you're going with one particular barrel. I'll never get my hands on that. Wild Turkey's Master Keep Triumph. We tried that. We weren't thrilled with that. That was not one that we were thrilled with, and but then again, that's one that everybody can get their hands on, or most people can get their hands on, versus a single barrel. And then Thomas Handy. We've had Thomas Handy. We talked about it on the show a couple weeks ago. Thomas Handy always delivers a pretty standard, really, really good rye. ASW Resurgence. I've never seen this before, but looks good. It's the single barrel. National Barrel Company, and then number one was Mister's 10-year Kentucky Rye Straight Rye Whiskey single barrel. So it's a single barrel. So a lot of these we're not ever going to get our hands on. So I just when it comes to lists, I would like to see some uniformity and some kind of parameter set. Now, with that said, to have the congratulations for Liberty Poll for getting number 10 on there is pretty freaking amazing.
Just making the list is phenomenal because there's a lot of distilleries
to bump up against those single barrels and knock those single barrels down.
Well, it's some heavy hitters who have been doing it a lot longer than them, though.
So it just goes you to show what craftsmanship in whiskey does. Now, I would love to see in next year some of the other craft distillers that we have talked about, Lonely Oak Distillery, Middle West, Stolen Wolf. I want to see where they get with their rye, because I think rye is really kind of it's starting to punch above its weight class. Personally, I mean, we're going to go out to Stolen Wolf and we're gonna enjoy that time out there and get some rose and rye in our system, and really kind of enjoy what they have to offer. I would just like to see the rye segment kind of pair out more. Personally, that's just me. Your thoughts?
Sure.
I think you're not the biggest rye guy.
What I think is
Sure.
I'm so excited to go out to Stolen Wolf and try the rose and rye, because from what I understand, what little bit of some of the podcasts I've listened with Stolen Wolf, rose and rye is not a big thing out there. Kind of select people do it though, and they're one of the ones that do it, and I'm hoping we really get to try that when we're out there and talk about it.
No, I think it's going to be an interesting trip, and we're going to stop by Thistle and Finch Distillery as well and hang out with those guys. I think the more that we walk the rye journey, especially in PA, is cool, because we're learning a lot and we're exchanging a lot of information. And who knows? I mean, I think like when I was on Lonely Oak Distillery's website, I wanted to buy another couple bottles, talk about them, and I was like, man, they got 2 ryes out now. Shit. Well, what do I go with? I bought a single barrel bourbon. Do I go with the sweet mash rye, or do I go with their cask strength rye? And you said go. I let
sweet mash.
I went sweet mash. So,
all right.
So I'm excited. I'm excited to see as people start to venture more into ryes. Speaking of ryes, we are going to announce the winner in a separate video here after we get done on the podcast. So this will that video will probably be up for the podcast, right, Dan?
Roughly the same time.
Roughly the same time. Depends on if you fall asleep and you go home.
Depends how long you keep me here.
4 muscle relaxers and 2 bourbons, and you're on your last
old
leg.
man Dan here.
Yeah. So here is the bottle. This is Liberty Poll Old Monongahela Full Proof Rye Whiskey. It's been signed. We slapped a sticker on there because we're nobodies. But this has been signed by Jim Ellen, Kevin, and Rob Huff, who are the amazing people that make that great juice. And if you are a Patreon member, you were going to also win.
They already got 6 entries.
Got 6 entries, yeah. If you win it though, and you're a Patreon member, you get a glass too. So Cool stuff. Now, to more importantly, or what's up next? We talked about it. We're going to make it happen. The next thing to win is a Blanton's bottle of Bland's. Craig?
Yeah, original
you
single
put 'em
barrel. What else you need to say? Typical tater bottle. It's a good pour. Big fan of the Blanton's though. What else you want to talk about though? But
so we said we would do it, and we want to see you guys get involved. This has never been opened. We will not slap a sticker on the bottle, because I know how the Blanton's people get, right? You slap a sticker on the Blanton's bottle and they're fucking kill your ass. But I think that one also has a pouch to it.
oh yeah, well, Bland's Roast Single Barrel. It will have a bag. It will be. Let's see here.
There you go.
Your bag, and it will
Got
be.
a bag for you.
In case you're looking for it, letter N. Old man. Let's see here. Yep. In dump date of 2/27/24.
There you go. Newer blends. But we will get that up and the parameters for the entries. We want to see, we said we wanted to do it and we're going to get it done. We're going to get it out there and, give another chance for somebody to win something. So, hope you guys will play more this time. There were not a lot of entries, right, Dan?
Yeah, we think we had 22, 23 total on Facebook. And I think we got like 10 to 12 people on Patreon.
Yeah. So, chances are good. I will say that I'd like to see those numbers go up so that, we get those numbers going up and I don't know, maybe we crap out a Blanton's Gold at some point. Or black or red.
So transitioning, Dan, the best part about Liberty Pole making number 10, correct?
Say what?
10 what?
Yeah, Liberty Pole finished number 10. Rye Whiskey's correct?
Yes.
So they finished much higher than Florida this week in college football.
Motherfucker, I got this knife out.
Moving on to college football fans. How did Florida do this past weekend, Jay?
They got beat by a ranked Miami team.
Notice how he had to throw ranked Miami team.
Listen,
who may not be ranked after 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, Ohio State may not be ranked after 3 or 4 weeks. You guys play a cupcake and you barely take them out. You really want to go down this road. Florida State, who was ranked number 6 to start, ended up laying 2 turds, one against Georgia Tech and then one against Boston College, and they're no longer ranked. Say something. You act like you got it.
We're still ranked.
Huh? Now look, it's college football season. Yes, week 1 is in the books, everybody. There have been some impressive things happening. How about that Robert Morris
pick
interception? That was dope.
That has to be the catch of the year.
Yeah, that was pretty good. But more, we've talked about this. More interestingly is what we have seen so far. Listen, I'm a Florida fan, true and true. Grew up in Gainesville, Florida. I have given up officially on the Florida Gators. I don't know. We are cursed by Urban Meyer.
Do you really ever think you see anything week 1 now? Georgia beats Clemson, correct?
Yeah.
So Georgia beats a 14th ranked Clemson, I think. But the question is, how good was their victory, though? I always look at it like, some people always say week 10. Ohio State. Some people say Ohio State beat the 2nd-ranked team in the country week 2. Well, then
I don't
week
think
10,
you
they're not
know
even
a
ranked,
lot,
though.
but I think you look.
Yeah, I don't think we do right now.
Look for a lot. So I watched the Georgia Clemson game, and listen, Georgia is Florida Gators' arch rival, but I watched a Georgia team that for the first half of the football game was trying to find out who they were as a football team. That's typical of your first game. You remember Dan playing in college, your first football game, high school, same thing. You get out in the field and you're a bucket of bullshit the first half. Normally, you're a bucket of bullshit the entire game. Second half, they came out and blew the back out of Clemson. Clemson left that field hobbling, like bad. Same thing happened to the Florida Gators. I saw an undisciplined football team, way undisciplined for the athletes they had. And when Miami came out in the second half, they had made the adjustments, and Florida looked like they went in and had ice cream cones. They just did. And there were a lot of football teams like that.
Well, I have a question, and this brings something up we kind of were talking about upstairs, right? So you said they came out the second half and looked like shit, right? Do you think now that they're getting the NIL money that they, there was those backroom deals back in the day, but yet you're going out, busting your ass day in, day out so you can get that big payday by going to the NFL. Now guys are getting that NIL money. Are they putting in as much work now?
Man, I don't know. I'll answer this in 2 parts. One, as a Florida football fan, I don't know what the fuck Florida has to do to get back to where they were in, from the 90s all the way to 2008 when Urban Meyer left. We were one of the dominant forces in college football. And I feel like we're cursed. But here's what I don't get. Florida is the number 1 public ranked university in the nation. It's the Harvard of public schools. It's got one of the biggest. If you don't believe me, check it out. All right, I'm just saying. I know you want to be like Ohio State. Oh, we're nuts. We're Buckeyes. But the fact is, it is what it is. They have one of the largest operating budgets, and they have some of the richest donors. To Texas, Ohio State, Florida, UCLA, USC have some of the as far as public universities go, the big mega donors. So the money's there. So I don't know if it's the NIL, but I think the NIL has played a part in some of these kids going. If you look at Alabama's roster, they lost 5 4-star players to Florida State, 5 key players. And they were at Florida State when they just got their shit pushed in by Boston College and Georgia Tech. So I don't know. Are they moving for money? Are they moving for contract?
I mean, what didn't you move for money? I mean, before you were going to college with the hopes of the NFL, correct?
Yeah.
But now, if you have the ability at 18, 19 years old to make millions here versus
Then just go to the fucking
peanuts
NFL.
here.
Well, here's
This is my problem. Go to the NFL.
Well, here's my thing too. Now you look at everybody; their social media. Everybody's trying to be more marketable.
Yeah.
For those different deals, we got local players here at the University of Pittsburgh and different universities that are working with local car dealerships and getting a free car out of the deal.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, am I going to be more concerned about studying game film? You know what I mean? For upcoming games, or am I going to be worried about marketing myself so I can get some type of payday? Because I may be good in college, but am I good enough for the NFL?
You bring up a very, very valid point. So Ohio State went out this year, and they're the number 1 spenders for NIL. Something I don't remember. I'm a little lowball. I'll say 10 million. I think it's something like 50 million. In theory, that money should translate to success, right? I mean, I would.
You're buying players.
You're buying players. But at the end of the day, if your coach is dog shit, I don't think you win. So I look at the coaching landscape, and we lost Nick Saban, legendary coach. We lost Nick Saban, and he's even said this. Part of it is because of the NIL landscape.
Yeah.
Okay, so you drove out the greatest coach in the history of college football, hands down.
Because it's no longer about developing players.
Exactly. You're not developing. You're not putting those fingerprints. I know y'all like the fingerprint. Fingerprint. You want to touch it?
But no, I agree 100%. These kids now are more worried about, okay, I got to get my Instagram numbers up.
Yeah.
I need to start networking and do what I can to make that side money with, doing a commercial for a fucking ice cream company or whatever it may be.
But I mean, can you blame them?
Oh no!
Well,
no, I don't blame.
I can't blame the kid. I blame the format. So, for example,
So it's the world they live in now.
It is the world they live in. But here's the result. Lifelong college football fan, before any other sport, lifelong college football fan. I am at the point where I'm going to write college football off. I love the real football, soccer, as the Americans call it, more than anything. But I mean, that was a memory for me, bowl games and Saturday afternoons and, but it's no longer something that is, it's just become stupid. You only have 1 or 2 coaches in college football right now that are I would consider legacy power coaches. All right? Kirby Smart, Nick Saban's gone, so you got Kirby Smart, name another. Don't say Ryan Day. Don't say Ryan Day.
Ryan
Trent Dilfer, Warren Sapp.
Ryan Day just took over recently in the past few years.
And he hasn't won yet. I mean, I know that Chasky
I don't think he's been a legacy, but so speaking of playoffs, what do you think about the 12-team playoff system?
I think it's 5 years overdue. I think it's 10 years overdue.
I think it's long overdue.
If they had done this back before, I mean, listen, last time Florida won a national championship, 2008, was the BCS. If they had done this back then, we would have seen sustainment in college football, I think, that would have precluded the NIL being such a huge deal. I think there had to be something better for the student. Remember, these are supposed to be student athletes. Half of these motherfuckers can't count to 20 on their own. We know that. Come on, we know this.
See, I always thought
we
that.
know this.
I always thought you could lose to an unranked team in the beginning of the year, and you could still climb the ladder and be in the college football playoff system.
Maybe you can this year.
No.
Maybe.
Well, no. Before this,
you couldn't in previous years. Are you crazy?
Yes, you could. Absolutely.
No.
What? You're crazy.
No way.
Yes. Florida lost to an unranked team one year. Michigan, Ohio State played each other.
But that's
2 and
because
3.
they rematched the team that they lost to. It wasn't they didn't lose to the unranked team. They rematched the team they lost
No,
to.
you're not listening. Florida lost to an unranked
To
team.
Georgia.
No,
who then-
Florida lost to an unranked team. Michigan, Ohio State played each other. One lost.
Are you holding on to some baggage? You're holding on to some hurt. You are. Your ass is. You need a therapist.
But
That's 15 years ago. I know what you're talking about.
But that was crazy, though. I mean,
that's 15 years. 15 years of hurt.
but you could
Come
lose.
here. Come here. Give me a hug.
No, Ohio State made it. Michigan did not.
I know. I need a hug.
Michigan. Yeah, I'm gonna smack you.
You've been holding on to that for a long 15.
But the
15 years of Gator hurt.
No, Ohio State made it though.
Oh, okay.
Ohio State made it, but Florida crushed Ohio State. That's a
He's holding on to some hurt.
Come here.
That's
come
what
here,
it
come here.
is.
Come here. You want a hug?
No, what it was Florida lost to an unranked team beginning of the year.
And then they pushed your shit in so bad that the Buckeye flew out of the stadium.
Ohio State was number 2. Michigan was number 3. It was a close game by
what
3
happened?
points.
What happened? I'll tell you what happened. I'm gonna recap this. This right
You
here.
can't even
This
shut up
is-
long enough. You
I know.
cannot shut up
I'm
long
getting-
enough to
so
even
on the initial
acknowledge it,
kick.
though.
Ohio State's kick returner returned it 98 yards for a touchdown against Florida, and I watched all these Ohio State Buckeye fans. They were fucking, they were going batshit crazy. And 22 minutes later, those motherfuckers were leaving the stadium, weren't they?
The
Okay, but
moral
anyways,
to my story is
was-
that you can, when it was a top 4, you could lose to an unranked team beginning of the year.
But that
and
was
you-
rare. That's rare. It's
But
been,
it happened now. So I think the top 12 is much
Yeah.
better though, because there's a lot of controversy over 4, 5.
Okay, so let me
5,
ask you
6.
this, and I don't believe this is going to happen in any way, shape, or form. But say Florida, who has the toughest football schedule, there. Some people say in the history of college football. Whatever, we'll leave it at that.
You guys say that shit every. We play in the SEC. We got the hardest
Listen,
schedule.
this is not me saying it. This is what these are all these pundits like Paul Feinbaum. If you look at their schedule, it's pretty.
You always.
But we will see week 10. We'll see what
Okay,
happens. How
but
it pans out.
my
though.
question to you is if Florida were to win out the rest of the year, could they make the college football playoffs? Probably, because they have redemption chances. Could Florida State, after losing to Boston College and Georgia Tech when they initially started so high, would they have the chance to
No,
make it?
I don't think they will.
Yes,
See, and that's
based
my-
off the top 12 now. The top 12, I think it's the top 5 of your conferences will now make it to the playoff system now.
So I'm
So
just
if they can make it to the conference, so your top 5, I think I don't know if I'm right, but I think it's your top 5 in your top 5 power
it's not
conferences will make
necessarily.
it now.
Yeah,
yes.
yes, you're right. But look at this. Look at the size of some of these conferences. The Big 10, which is now the Big 45, and the
SEC
SEC,
same way.
which is
We're
down like the SEC 55.
17 teams or something.
I
now?
mean, the Pac-12 has 2 teams left in it. Like if I'm the Pac-12, I'm chilling.
No, the ACC. You got rid of
Well,
the Big East.
so far the
Big
ACC is shitting the bed on
What
a
about
massive
the
scale.
Big
right?
East gone?
Gone. My thing is that if you're going to go to 12, how one more week, one additional game would have brought you to how many teams? This is some hard math right here.
Well, no, I think the Big 12 is
24,
great.
right?
It's great for college football money.
No. I'm talking about for playoffs. If you had
I am too.
12, you
The Big
could
12,
one more week.
the
You
top-
could have had
yeah.
how many teams? 24.
Why would you want 24
Yeah.
playoff? That's too many.
Because 24 would have been representative of every conference winner. Hold on.
You want to give fucking participation trophies out. That's what you want. Here's
I'm
our
looking-
participation.
He is the problem with
Here's
society
our
right now.
participation
I'm-
trophy.
You really are the problem right now, Jay.
Oh, hold on. Just hear me out.
No, I heard
Just
you
hear-
out. 24, that's bullshit.
If 24,
There's not even 24 conferences.
yeah, there are. If you count, like, I don't know, the
Sun Belt?
division. Yeah.
Like Mercyhurst.
MAC.
Notre Dame doesn't have a conference.
So if you look at it the way the Big
Hold on.
the Big
How do you feel
Dance
about
have-
Notre Dame not being in a conference?
I don't think I think Notre Dame should be told it's time to actually man up and join a conference. Nobody listen, Golden Domers, just join a freaking conference already. Like you do it for basketball because it's convenient and it gets you a bid. Right. My thing is, look at the way the basketball playoff has been set off, or the bracket.
Well, we're not going down that rabbit hole.
I'm just
we're
saying-
going back to your participation
you
trophy.
see how you could change Jay real quick and talk about Notre Dame, and he just
uh,
changes gear. He just,
Well, he goes
all
down
squirrel.
rabbit hole after rabbit hole, barrel after barrel. Participation trophies for everybody.
Y'all got funny stuff. What?
Dude, I think 12 is the right number.
I think 12 is great. You know,
I think,
anything
I think
more than
16 would have been better.
No.
That's
No.
just me. All right.
I don't know if 16 would be better, but you know what?
You got a top 25. I mean,
It is great
you know?
for college football fans. We get to see a lot more college football.
we'll see.
It's more. Well, we do.
No, I'm just saying we'll see how it works out at the end of the year. I listen. I've given up. I've given up on my Gators doing.
There was so much
I wanna
controversy
see
about
some good teams.
number 4, number 5. There was a lot of controversy of all right, who should be number 4, who should be number 5. Now, all right, what we're going to argue about?
Do
We're
you
going
think-
to argue about 12 and
Do
13.
you think that
14?
Michigan last year would have beat Georgia in the playoffs? Honestly,
Oh God, you know what?
just be honest about it.
Who knows?
Georgia was so they laid an egg against Alabama. Do you really think they would have beat Georgia?
Anything can happen.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
The problem is I get older. I'm trying to remember
I'll tell
last
you what,
year, and I'm drawing.
It all
a blank
depends
here.
what's going on Vegas. You know what I mean? Because I see some very controversial calls.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean, that's fair.
Like my parlay last week. Fucking, this person should have got a fucking.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I'm
Dude,
just saying.
last year's national championship though with Clemson. Oh wait, I'm sorry. What was the score last year's
you
national
bump your
championship?
head? I don't remember.
Was it last year, or the year before? God, it was horrible. Last year, who was it last year?
I
This is
don't.
horrible.
I should know this, but the whole
me too.
point is that
Are you talking about the Bowling State game or who was
the
TCU.
TCU. That's who it
Yeah,
was.
And they were embarrassed.
And it was not. It was.
It was a blowout.
It was like watching the first year game of a D1.
but TCU destroyed Michigan.
D1, Georgia,
Yeah.
Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan playing in Akron or.
Well, I think
God,
the
it was
other issue
horrible.
is
that was like one of the worst losses I think in
here's the other issue I have with the playoffs, the NCAA when we get to the bowl games. How many juniors and seniors are opting to sit out of the bowl game because
yes.
they want to be.
They want to protect the
You're right.
draft
They
status.
want to protect the draft status.
Sometimes
I think that is completely bullshit, and it changes the game all the way around.
I mean, the team they field is not the team they played with because they don't want to be hurt before the NFL draft. Though.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what would you do, though? I mean, it's a hard decision.
That's fair.
But my thing
see,
is-
it hurts a program. If a program gets to a bowl
Right.
game, especially a program that's going through a rebuilding phase. Listen, if you're a Clemson fan, I got news for you. You're facing what Florida's faced.
Here's my
You're
thing.
facing a rebuilding epic challenge ahead of you.
I think the NCAA needs to come down because of the NIL money. These players are getting paid now. There is no sitting out of a bowl game. You will play.
Oh yeah.
I think that has to be a stipulation.
Because
with
they
the
still
NIL.
go to the bowl game. They get their little bowl game grab bag
Gucci gear.
crap. I'm like, look, if you take the bag from Capital One Orange, rental car assurance of America fucking grab bag and you get your Apple Watch out of it, you better suit your pad up and run out in the field.
But no, like with the NIL money now, you guys are bitching and crying. You should get paid. You're
You
getting
got
paid.
paid.
Guess what? You're playing in the bowl game.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about the draft. You gotten paid all year long. You're playing in the bowl game.
I will 100% agree with you. I think what's happened though is that there's a very blurry line between what is college football, amateur football, or amateurism, if you want to call it that, and the NFL. I didn't grow up in an area where being an NFL fan was huge because we didn't have a team until the Jacksonville Jaguars came in. I mean, you had the Buccaneers, and the Dolphins. Yeah, they ain't done shit since what, 1970 something.
But
And now it's like, I don't know what the difference is between college and pros. There are guys making more money in college than they are in the pros.
oh, 100%. But here's my thing though: how many guys their draft status went up due to their performance in a bowl game?
A lot.
A lot. A hell of a lot.
Well,
I mean, I can't blame them though. When you're talking about a big payday, it's tough. And we look at it from someone who's 40-some years old. We've been in the military too, so we're always like, "Oh, you play for your team, loyalty.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do." But when I was 19 or 22, 23 years old, and you said, if you get hurt, you lose $5 million.
you take an insurance policy on your ass.
Yeah, and here's the thing too: fucking, they're not doing 3-day full pads anymore.
Yeah, that's been
You-
outlawed.
you know what I mean?
They gotta wear helmet pads now.
They got to wear fucking a melon fucking hat. You know what
You
I mean?
can't hit the quarterback anymore because you don't want to fucking damage Care Bear himself. You can't tackle below the waist. You can't tackle above the waist.
You can't tackle and
when you
spin.
tackle them, and you got to pick them up and you got to rub them on the back. You got to burp them. I mean, it's got to the point where NFL football has become football in general.
Football in general
has become. And listen, I get this from a parent's perspective. It's like great, our kids are safer, but from the old school days that we grew up in, and that imagine what our fathers think. Those dudes ran around freaking leather helmets. They had no teeth. They were hitting walls. They'd freaking chew on freaking glass bottles. And now it's like, when are we just going to be flag football players?
Well, the NFL is trying to get the Olympics for flag football. I'm like, come on, leave that shit alone.
Yeah.
Leave that shit alone.
So while we're talking about NFL, really quickly before we wrap up, because we don't want to go super long, let's talk Caleb Williams.
No.
Chicago Bears anointed supreme quarterback who has not taken one snap in a real football game yet. Thoughts?
Just the whole drama leading up to the draft with him wanting
Not
all
to play
these demands and everything else from Chicago. But the thing that kills me, you're a fucking grown-ass man with nail polish. Come on, man.
Yeah, bro. You have already just turn your freaking man card in on the way to you having a shit rookie season.
Well, here's the thing. They stacked him with a decent offense.
They did the same thing for Andrew Luck in Indianapolis Colts, who was an amazing quarterback. And what happened his rookie year? Rookies are rookies.
Rookies are rookies.
Rookies are
true.
rookies.
So it's going to be interesting to see between Chicago and Houston. Houston, I'm very interested to see what's going to go on with Houston this year.
So I'm going to tell you, look, you're not, but you
I don't follow NFL at all.
You and I are Steelers fans. This is my adopted city. I'm an adopted.
We're going to go 500.
But here's what I'd like to see. I would love to see at some point Justin Fields come on for Pittsburgh, and I would love for him to have an all-pro season.
Where did Justin Fields come from?
Chicago.
He was ditched by Chicago in favor.
Where did he come from in college?
Justin Fields, Ohio State. I know you wanted me to say that.
Yeah, I know.
I know that's a big thing for you. Yeah. Do you feel good?
I do. I
know something about the NFL.
So
you play for Ohio State.
Carry on.
Ohio State.
So you're a Cleveland Browns fan, right? Okay. We'll move on now. Because there have been two teams in the last 30
in Ohio
years
that have never won an NFL Super Bowl.
Correct. But
they're not the only ones.
Two teams in particular in the last 30 years who seem to draft quarterbacks every draft and not do dog shit with them.
Oh God,
that would be the Browns and the Bears. And they look at this logic line.
And Tony, these were elite college.
Who they turn to dog. At some point, do you look at your organization and go like, yo, maybe we're the problem.
This like walking the Green Mile.
One of the most vindicating things last year was watching Baker Mayfield sign with Tampa Bay and have a playoff season.
Oh yeah,
I fucking love that. Right, like the dysfunction in that organization in Cleveland is just it's like the city. The city itself is just a mistake by the lake. It's like they can't get. And Chicago's no different. Chicago will like look at you like, well, let's get rid of Justin Fields because our answer is a rookie, and rookies do great, and so he's better. This is their mind frame. I mean, these are just. I want to see Justin Fields succeed because I feel, even though he's an Ohio State player, I feel like they raw dogged the bullshit out of him. I want to see him succeed. I want to see that kid because he's put the work in here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
he's been quiet.
But here's the thing: he has no receivers.
So would it be even better?
Pickens is a prima donna now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
they got rid of Dante Johnson.
Yeah,
like he has nobody to throw to. Freiermuth. So you got a tight end and one single receiver.
So how much better would it be if he puts up a season that's better than Caleb Williams with receivers with not all the receiver options?
Well, here's the thing: you got Russell Wilson that already got QB1.
My man is less mobile than a freaking cement truck.
And
come on.
The only reason he did anything in Seattle, Marshawn Lynch, baby.
Yeah, because Marshawn was the beast of the beast. Marshawn just...
But he's not going to do anything in Pittsburgh.
So he'll get benched by game 3, mark my words. Game 3, he will be benched.
It'll be just like last year.
Or it'll be a concussion protocol.
It'll just be like last year when we had the other quarterback from Chicago And they bench 10, put Pickett's in.
Mitch Trubisky, yeah.
Trubisky to Pickett's. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be Russell.
So what I was interested to find out was that Chicago has never had a 4,000-yard passer in its franchise history.
I believe it.
And I'm thinking, like, man. But see, I go back, like, when I think Chicago, what player?
The Bears.
Coach? The Bears. You had William Perry. You had the Sweetness, Walter Payton. But remember Jim McMahon with the headband?
Oh, yeah.
My man had a rap video. Like, you don't have to be amazing as a quarterback, but you have to be a good manager, right? I'm just saying. My thoughts. What do I know? I don't know shit. I'm just saying. I think it's going to be kind of ironic as the year plays out.
Yeah,
what's going to happen?
I think when you bring somebody on with such an ego as Kev Williams, it's not good for the organization. It's not good for the locker room.
No.
That's the thing. Every one of these players are replaceable.
Yeah,
and that we've seen that with Le'Veon Bell.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, you want to sit up? Okay, fine. Go ahead.
Greatest quarterback in the history of the game. I know it's painful to say it out loud.
Tom Brady.
Oh yeah,
Tom Brady. Did Tom Brady start? Was he heralded out of Michigan?
No, Drew Bledsoe
Drew
went
Bledsoe
down.
was ahead of greatest running back in the history of the
Barry
NFL.
Sanders.
It's a.
Walter Payton, Emmett Smith. I mean,
I'll go with O.J. Simpson. I love that slash and run fucking play style.
Slash and run. OJ was good at slashing, hand dashing.
Barry Sanders, dude, play for the Detroit Lions. What line did he have? Played so many less games than Emmitt Smith, though. I mean,
I got to watch Walter Payton play. Sweetness was sweetness, and he was just he was
mad
amazing.
Respect to all of them, but I have to go Barry Sanders.
Barry Sanders had no offensive line. He was running for his life, and he found a way. Emmitt Smith was a power rusher who had amazing endurance.
Quit well before his. Quit well before his time, though.
So let me ask you this, and so we can wrap up. Who do you have? Who's your pick to win the Super Bowl this year? Let's just do early season. Let's just throw it out there. Who is your pick, Dan? Go.
I'm gonna go Houston.
Houston.
I'm gonna go Houston.
Dark horse. That's a real dark horse.
I'm gonna go Houston. They gave him some weapons this year.
Yeah.
If Houston's defense stands up, it's gonna be Houston.
And he's sharp. CJ Stroud sharp.
I think Houston. Yeah.
Craig.
I'm going to be out. I don't follow NFL enough. We'll go college football, and I'm going to throw it in. Well, I'm going to throw it in there. I'm going to say right now. I'm going to say Ohio State week 2. I'm just going to say Ohio State right now.
Shocker.
But well, you know what? We'll revisit it week 5. I don't know. I just say it because I don't. Right now, I don't know. It's week 2. So
next
I'll go
week
with the home
you got to take your NFL team. Next week we'll take our college teams to win it all. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with Detroit.
Detroit.
I'm going to go
who's
with
never won.
Yes, they went deep last year. They shocked a lot of people
last year. Here's why.
You know what you should do? What is the Vegas odds? He should put what's $20 get him on Vegas right now.
I don't know.
My phone's over there.
I like that they're disciplined, and I just feel like the curse has got to be over for them. But they played real good last year. I was going to say the 49ers until Pearsall was shot.
Yeah.
Rick Pearsall played for University of Florida. He was a first-round draft pick. He was shot in the chest coming out of, I think, an autograph ceremony or something like that.
Yeah.
And Rick Pearsall was awesome to watch at University of Florida. But I don't know what that does to a team when you're shot. I'm just saying. I don't know what that dynamic has on them. That is what it is. That's my only reason for not taking the 49ers over Detroit. I don't think this year, that the Kansas City is going to win it all again. I could be wrong.
You don't think Patrick Mahomes will pull it off this year, huh?
No knock on Kansas City. They have an organization that seems to know they have their head out of their ass. But do you remember the distraction that was Taylor Swift and Kelsey? And that was only half a year last year, right?
Yeah, it's going to be all year.
It's going to be all goddamn year. And if that Joker proposes, then
he already did.
Yeah,
did he?
This past week we saw it on.
Yeah, it was like 2-3 weeks ago.
So and now she's drawing up plays for Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I just think at some point the circus becomes the sideshow.
See,
that's just me.
The one thing I like to watch out this year, and you're gonna love it. I hate saying it, Jacksonville, Miami, and Tampa.
I do.
They are all ballers. They all got strong offenses. Some of them got a soft schedule.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens.
I'm curious to see what Baker Mayfield does. I find myself rooting for this dude just because I don't like how organizations can ruin a guy. And I say that generally speaking, but like Tim Tebow's a prime example. Goes to Denver, wins their first playoff game, and God knows how long, and then they're like, oh, well, he's no good, and then look, all of a sudden Patrick Mahomes and they throw the same
you say
way
because of the Florida Gator.
I say it because he was ostracized and he didn't have the correct throwing motion and blah blah blah. Does Patrick Mahomes have the correct throwing motion?
No, sidearm. Who the fuck throws sidearm?
So this is like, to me, this is like the ancient Roman Church talking about how we're going to do church things and not adapting to the game. Who cares if he throws with his friggin' pecker? If he wins, he wins. That's what I'm saying. Your job
there's no points for grace.
I think
style.
I mean, listen, I don't know anybody that cares how good a soccer player looks on his follow through kick if the ball's in the back of the net. True or false? Just the way it is. So, I mean, I don't know. It'll be interesting, guys. Drop your comments in the comment section. Let us know who you think is going to win. Thoughts on the NIL, because I know that's a hot topic in college football in general. And as a reminder, check out our store for merchandise. We do have that up, bulletsandbourbon.com. And
back to our bottle of Blanton's here.
Yes, so
our
the Blanton's bottle,
giveaway.
we'll have that up shortly. And the winner to be announced for the Liberty Pole Spirits Old Monongahela Rye. I said that right. I almost messed it up. We will be doing that shortly. And as always, guys, thank you for joining in. Stay thirsty, my friends. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast of Bullets and Bourbon. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss an episode.